All right, let's give it a second to get in here. And then we should be rocking and rolling. All right, good morning, everybody. It's 10 a.m. PST. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. This is Brunansky's Vlog. It's Monday morning. Let's get this show started. We have got a lot to talk about. We've got Marvel Studios and San Diego Comic-Con. We've got new announcements by Kevin Feige, 2 and 3 topics. We've got James Cameron talking maybe too much. We'll discuss that. And we've also got some CinemaCon heads up, because CinemaCon in Las Vegas is just kicking off. Plus, we've got Certified Rad, 2 movie reviews. So give us a second. We'll get right into that. And we'll give everybody a minute to log in here. And then we'll be rocking and rolling into this week's brand new episode. So stay tuned. All right, we're back. It's Monday morning. It's 10 a.m. PST. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. This is Brunansky's Vlog, live on YouTube right now, Season 3, Episode 4. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now we're going to talk some movies. But before we do that, let's go ahead and just get some of these commercials out of the way. So if you have not yet clicked that subscribe button, go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the bell so you get the notifications when new content drops. Because every Monday morning right here on YouTube at 10 a.m. PST, we drop a brand new episode where we talk movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. Also, if at any point you enjoy any portion of this week's show, go ahead and give me the thumbs up, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. All right, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead now and move into the news segment, because we've got some news stories. We got weekend box office, we've got Certified Rad, we've got movie reviews, and it's starting right now. So here we go. All right, so for the news this week, you can see down below we got the honorable mention ticker tape running its course. So go ahead and keep your eyes focused on that. Stay attention right there. If you are curious about what news stories dropped that I thought were interesting, but we won't really dive too deep into, that's what'll be running at the bottom of the screen for you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weekend box office report here on this show. We like to cover weekend box office where we look at the top 10, but we give a little bit of an analysis on the top 5 here. So let's see who came in the top 5. Coming in at number 5, we have Truth or Dare at 7,910,000. Coming in at number 4, we have Super Troopers 2 at 14,700,000. Coming in at number 3, I Feel Pretty at 16,220,000. Coming in at number 2, Rampage at 21 million. And coming in at number 1 is A Quiet Place at 22 million. So job well done to A Quiet Place for climbing back up into the top spot. Its 3rd week in theaters, still producing strong numbers, which is really cool because I enjoyed that movie. Now, if you haven't yet seen my review, you can go to the movie review playlist and you can go ahead and check that out. That review is available there. So you can go ahead and hear my thoughts about A Quiet Place before you go check it out. Or if you've already seen it, go ahead and just watch the review if you're interested in what I thought about the film now that you've seen it, and you don't need to worry about spoilers. So there you go. Rampage, again, coming in at number 2. Not really surprising it's in the top 5. A lot of fun. It does kind of feel a little disjointed. It feels like 2 different movies. But still entertaining, still fun. You can hear my review as well on the movie review playlist for that film. I Feel Pretty, not surprising that this is in the top 5. It's, it's got a week out and it's a comedy and it's a positive body image film, right? It's a comedy that looks at like owning who you are and embracing your body type and your body style and really strutting it out there in the world. So not surprising it's still there. Amy Schumer, she draws in some people to the theaters. So job well done for staying in the top 5 there. Super Troopers 2, pay attention later on in the show because my review for Super Troopers 2 will be dropping. Spoiler alert, as a fan of Super Troopers, as a big fan, like I've been quoting this movie for 17 years. Super Troopers caught me by surprise and I have enjoyed it for 17 years. So Super Troopers 2 came out. I was not disappointed, spoiler alert, and stay tuned for my review as to why. That'll be later in the show. Job well done to everybody who got out to the theater to see this film. I'm sure it's mostly going to be fans of the first film going out to see it. Positive word of mouth is going to help get more people in next week. We'll see what the drop-off is. But I had a lot of fun in Super Troopers 2. Coming in number 5, Truth or Dare. I am a little surprised that this made the top 5 because, as you've heard before, the trailers really didn't sell me on this. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. Then they're like, yeah, the game decides. You don't get to decide if it's Truth or Dare. I'm like, I'm totally out. I don't know. So, hey, the fans, I'm not trying to dissuade people from seeing it. If you like horror movies, by all means, live your life. Go see this film. But just didn't sell me. So congratulations to all the fans out there supporting the film. You guys put it into the top 5. So job well done to you guys for getting out and supporting your genre. Let's see. Ready Player One, Blockers, Black Panther, Traffic, Isle of Dogs, all in the top 10. Traffic just came out, so job well done to everybody who got out to see Traffic for supporting that film in its opening weekend to stay in the top 10. Black Panther still in the top 10. As we discussed last week, not really surprising. I figured Black Panther is going to be in the top 10 all the way up to Avengers Infinity War, which releases this week. We'll have to see if it can stay in the top 10 because obviously a lot of people who are going to see Avengers Infinity War might not get out to actually see Black Panther as well. So we may see a dip because the same audience that would go see Black Panther is most likely going to be seeing Avengers Infinity War. So I have to see how that kind of plays out, where that falls, how that holds up. But stay tuned for that, and we'll check it out next week. And then let's see, Isle of Dogs. I loved Isle of Dogs. My review is up on the channel, so go to the movie review playlist for that. And you can check out Isle of Dogs. But I really had a great time with this movie. I already had high expectations for it, and this film just knocked it out of the park. So great job there. So if you have thoughts about any of the top 10 films, go ahead and leave your comments in the comments section below. Now is your time to speak up about the top 10 because I am done with this topic. So go ahead and let us know what you thought in the comments section. We're going to move now into some movie news. So first story, and these stories are all kind of connected. So the first 3 stories are all connected, and you'll find out why. If you want to follow along with us in these stories, if you expand the description box below, you're actually going to see all of these news stories have links, and you can click on those links and you can follow along with us there. So the first 3 stories basically, are coming to us from 3 different sites. First is going to be Collider, then Screen Rant, and The Wrap. So all 3 of these are basically kind of saying something similar about Marvel, but each one has something different that they're talking about with regards to Marvel. So in Collider, we talk about, or not we, in Collider, they're talking about how Marvel is going to be skipping Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. Screen Rant, they're talking about how Moon Knight is possibly going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then on The Wrap, they're talking about how the Eternals is also being considered. So let's take a look here at what's going on in these 3 stories all about Marvel right now. So Marvel skipping Hall H, pretty big deal because San Diego Comic-Con is one of the biggest, largest conventions for Comic-Cons in the world. And Marvel has always had a strong presence there. So for them to pull out of an actual presentation of what's to come is kind of surprising, but not entirely surprising, and I'll explain. We have these films in the article. It actually lists, which is really nice because then I didn't have to do as much research because they already did it for me. So in the article, they actually list out some of the films that are already on the slate for what we can expect, and that's Captain Marvel in 2019, Avengers 4, Spider-Man Homecoming 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, those films, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is extended out all the way to 2020. So we've got the next 2 years already planned out for releases in theaters by Marvel. Now, we also need to keep in mind that we're still working on like information, right? Information's still coming to us about the Fox Disney merger and what that's going to look like. Will that get approved, not just by everybody at Fox and Disney, but the government, right? Because the government has to make sure that everything is in place and this isn't going to become any type of like, you know, monopoly or anything like that, right? They got to make sure that everything is in order and that everything is, you know, quote unquote fair. So with this transaction, since it is like such a huge, the magnitude of this transaction is, you know, through the roof. So because there's all of this at play, it could take a couple years for everything to be finalized. So with that news, right, it's kind of cool that we don't know what's going to be happening past 2020, but it is nice to know that once 2020 hits, if this goes through, if Fox and Disney merge up and, you know, Fantastic Four and the X-Men all come back into the Marvel household and they can start using those characters again, after 2020, the Marvel Cinematic Universe may really blow up in a big way as far as what stories they can tell and with which characters. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm happy to see that. But then we move into other news that dropped as well because of the press junket that happened for Infinity War. And we find out that Moon Knight, they've been talking about doing a Moon Knight movie. Now, I'm a fan of Moon Knight. A couple years ago, I had no idea who Moon Knight was. And then I started doing some comic book research and stuff like that on this character. And I was like, wow, this guy's really cool. I know people compare him a lot to Batman. I can kind of see it, but I think he stands on his own, right? So he's basically a mercenary that is multiple personalities, and he has the power of an Egyptian god granted to him. So, and he's a crime fighter. So he's got like, there's a lot that goes on with this character, but it's really cool. How much do I like him? Well, behind me back there, he's in a case. And then also I've got this little guy right here. And then on the shelf over here, I've got Moon Knight comics by Warren Ellis that are really good. So if you have the time, definitely check out, let's see here. I think it's this one. Nope, that's the one by Lemire. But you can check these out too. These are all good. So just check these out. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. This one right here. And then this one. Well, there it is. Check those out. Those are really good stories. That'll give you a nice introduction. Or you can go back and you can jump into some of the older Moon Knight series of comics, right, where it's a little bit different. It's more kind of like adventure filled and stuff like that. But definitely the Warren Ellis run's really good. So check that out. So I was really happy to see that because his stories can get dark and really trippy and weird. So I was happy to see that like they're considering this for the big screen as opposed to like Netflix or their Disney streaming service. And then the Eternals I'm not all too familiar with. I know they've been talked about a lot as far as how cool would it be if the Eternals came onto the big screen. And with the news that they're trying to go more cosmic because of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and everything else, that's kind of where Marvel has mentioned they would like to expand. It makes sense that the Eternals would kind of come up in conversations as far as that's concerned because that takes place in space. So kind of cool news to see that what they've already talked about, they've been continuing to work on. So, excuse me. So we definitely have something to be excited about. All right, so let's go ahead and move now into the next story. Still with a little bit of an Avengers theme, but we're moving towards James Cameron. Now, you may remember James Cameron, right? Very talented filmmaker. This guy does a lot of work on special effects. Like, it's taken him forever to get everything squared away for Avatar, but that's because he's creating brand new technology to do it. So you kind of have to give the guy a pass because he's creating something that has not been done before and he's trying to do it right. So you can't really be mad at a guy who's trying to create something brand new and he wants to make sure that it's done right. So good job to James Cameron on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing this new tech in play with your Avatar films. However, he came out and made a statement about Wonder Woman a while back, and everybody was kind of like, what are you doing, dude? And then now he's coming out saying he hopes everybody gets Avengers fatigue. So if you go to the link below and you check out the Variety article, he has an interesting comment about like how like he kind of wants to do more with Avatar, right? He's not slamming Avengers because he wants to slam Avengers. The way he words it is actually pretty clever, and it's a nice spin. It's like a political spin almost to try and like take attention away from one and highlight the benefits of the other. So he says like he's tired of like these like macho guys who don't have families hurling themselves into danger towards death's way, end up saving the day. He would rather see stories about families. Ho, 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 what's this? My Avatar films are going to be about family dynamics similar to The Godfather. So he's not poo-pooing on us like as Marvel fans and Batman fans and everything else with the DC universe and Wonder Woman. He's not poo-pooing on us just to poo-poo, right? He's too smart for that. So what he's doing is he's just taking the conversation and he's reframing it to highlight what he's doing with his films, which I think is smart. So I know he's been getting a lot of flack online as far as like, you know, people are like, James Cameron's crazy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's really not. He framed the conversation very intelligently to say like, look, this is what's going on here, but I would like to see this, and because I would like to see this, this is what my films are doing. Pay attention to my films. So take it with a grain of salt. That's my opinion on it. I disagree. I hope people do not get Avengers fatigue because I've really been enjoying these movies. I grew up, 80s. I'm an 80s kid. So I had the cheesy Hulk, the cheesy Thor, the cheesy Daredevil, the cheesy Doctor Strange, the Wonder Womans, right? All of those TV shows, the Captain Americas on the motorcycle. Then in the 90s, we had the Flash. So and then Batman, Adam West Batman. I grew up in a very different time period for hero stories. So I'm let's keep these types of stories going. So I hope people don't get Avengers fatigue, but I do think people need to pump the brakes on the James Cameron hatred and don't just do a soundbite, right? Look at what he's saying, look at what he's trying to do and why he's saying what he's saying, because it makes sense. Do I agree with it? No, but it makes sense. So I got to give him props for intelligently trying to restructure the conversation towards his film. So job well done there, Mr. Cameron. And again, looking forward to seeing this new tech in play once these Avatar movies come out. All right, let's move next into an article from Hollywood Reporter. This is in regards to CinemaCon. CinemaCon is a big movie convention, right? Cinema convention in Las Vegas. And they're talking about a couple things in here that I was not aware were going to be debuting at CinemaCon. So I just wanted to share them with you. So in the article, again, all these links are down below. In the article, you can see that we've got info about the new Jungle Book movie, which is coming out. Looks like they're going to be showing some footage for that. This is not the Jon Favreau one. This is going to be more in line with Rudyard Kipling's classic, The Jungle Book. So it's going to be more of an actual dynamic, dramatic story as opposed to the Disney sing-along kind of one that we have grown up with. Bohemian Rhapsody. So we've had that Bryan Singer Bohemian Rhapsody that got some weird press a little bit in the news a while back, but we're still on track to get this thing. Well, not we are. Hollywood is still on track to get this thing squared away. And it looks like they're going to try and get something out at CinemaCon for Bohemian Rhapsody. So just in case you forgot about that, it's still in play. Transformers is going to be doing some Bumblebee footage. It looks like they're going to get a glimpse of the first spinoff for Bumblebee. And then it also looks like there's a possibility that they're going to have some Aquaman presentations as well, an exhibit and everything else. So Aquaman comes out, I believe, in October of this year. So, we should start seeing some footage here pretty soon. Hopefully we'll see some footage at Avengers Infinity War. We'll get that trailer. But if not, I'm sure after the Infinity War drops in theaters and the buzz kind of calms down a little bit, then maybe DC will release it. So DC's Aquaman trailer doesn't get lost in the conversation of Avengers. So take a look at that because it goes through a bunch of different stuff. It also talks about, what happened with D23 and Mary Poppins and how we may get a little bit more there. So definitely a good article to check out. And again, that's coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. And that pretty much wraps up the news and the box office for this week. If you guys have any thoughts about any of the topics we discussed as far as news is concerned, or the weekend box office report, or anything down below, scrolling by for honorable mentions, hit that comment section, leave your thoughts, and get that conversation started. We're going to go ahead and move now into the movie reviews. This week, I had the opportunity to get out to see 2 movies in theaters, and those were Borg vs. McEnroe and Super Troopers 2. These are very different films, but I enjoyed both of them, and I hope you enjoy my reviews of Borg vs. McEnroe and Super Troopers coming up right now. The boys are back and they are on the highway, but this time they're in Canada. Everyone's favorite highway patrol officers are back with some old tricks and some new jokes as they try to open up a brand new highway patrol station in Vermontada. It's a cross between Vermont and Canada. Anywho, the transition isn't going as smoothly as they'd hoped, and so this ragtag team of irreverent do-gooders must save the day in Vermontada. So, does Super Troopers 2 deliver on the quotable ridiculousness of its predecessor, or does this film go up in a cloud of smoke? Let's talk about it in this review. If you're a fan of the first film like me, you will not be disappointed with this film. I laughed way too loud, way too many times throughout this movie, and it was pure delight. This is a classic B-comedy movie, but it delivers on the tone set before it in Super Troopers. Super Troopers, originally released in 2001, Super Troopers 2 released in 2018. It took 17 surprising years to get this sequel. However, it doesn't feel like any time was lost between these two films. The on-screen chemistry and rapport of all of the characters felt natural, and again, it felt like no time was lost in between these films. It does have some of the few same jokes and same storyline beats from the first one, but it delivered on exactly what I was hoping it would deliver on. This is a wildly adult, irreverent comedy that pulls no punches and dares to crack jokes at things other movies might consider taboo. I loved it. However, this movie is made entirely for the fans, and its predictability could bother some folks who weren't necessarily aware of what type of comedy they were in for when they walked into the theater. Plus, as I just stated, this film cracks jokes on pretty much everything, which some people might be offended by. And because of that, I'm not entirely sure how many new fans this film is going to add to the franchise while it's in theaters. If I had to place a bet, I would put my bet on the fact that more people will jump on the bandwagon once this film hits DVD or video streaming services. It's legit zaniness from beginning to end, and it felt like a very appropriate sequel for this franchise. Super Troopers 2 is playing at your local movie theater right now, and if you're a fan of these characters and their hijinks and their sense of humor, you're definitely going to want to check this movie out in the theaters. If you are easily offended by jokes regarding race, stereotypes, nudity, bad foreign accents, fake mustaches, the metric system, French people, American people, Canadian people, beer, and words that sound similar but mean completely different things, you are going to want to avoid this movie like that creepy neighbor who offers you soup at 7 in the morning when you're trying to leave your place for work. Super Troopers 2 delivered on everything that I hoped it would deliver on, and it gave us the opportunity for a few new running jokes. One in particular with Danny DeVito, and I hope you know who he is. He's the guy from Taxi. This movie is definitely not for everybody, but it delivers on a sequel 17 years later for its fans, and because of that, it's getting both high fives from this guy. Super Troopers 2 is playing at your local movie theater right now, and if you enjoyed the first one, check it out. The year is 1980 and the men's singles championship has arrived at Wimbledon. There are plenty of world-class tennis players, but only two are seen as possible victors in this tournament. John McEnroe, who's a young and upcoming talent who is currently ranked number 2 in the world, and Bjorn Borg, who is ranked number 1, and he is trying for his 5th consecutive win at Wimbledon. The pressure is heavy for both of these gentlemen as they compete to be the world's best at men's tennis. So, does Borg vs. McEnroe deliver an intense sports biopic, or does this film double fault its way out of theaters? Let's talk about it in this review. The story is not as simple as the title suggests. The title would lead us to believe that this story is going to be based solely around the tennis match that takes place for these two gentlemen trying to be world's best. And that's only partially true. This is a movie about the individuals, Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe. It's about their childhood, their families, their tennis training, and more. In fact, the majority of this film isn't really about them playing tennis, but more it's about who they are and who they became because of tennis. But if you're somebody who loves watching tennis, don't freak out, because we do get to see a lot of tennis being played in this movie, and as the title suggests, we do actually get to see them go head to head at the finale of the film. However, the majority of the film, again, is about us getting to know these characters, so it's a long road for us to get to that final Wimbledon match. This film is directed by Janis Metz, and he does a great job of capturing the spirit and the essence of a story that looks at what drives an individual to excellence. As we would expect from a film that looks at individuals, there are some dramatic moments that happen on screen, along with the tennis. But what I enjoyed about the shots that deal with the tennis is how he used a couple different angles to actually show that aspect of the story. For the most part, we get to see the players competing in tennis matches, either directly facing them, or it's a side shot where it's revealing their profile as they play the game. Towards the end of the film, he actually switches it up a little bit, and we get a bird's eye view where we're looking directly down at the players as they're competing, which I really enjoy. He also did a really good job with making this film feel and look like it was set in the 1980s. So along with shots that made the tennis seem real and look real, and then also switching it up to give us that bird's eye view, the tone and the look of the film feels, and I believe, that it was set in the 1980s. Borg vs. McEnroe is playing at your local movie theater right now, and if you're the type of individual who enjoys movies about tennis, or enjoys historical sports biopics, you will definitely enjoy this film. If you're the type of person who likes more human-centered films that really look at the individual and the individual's struggle to achieve excellence, again, this is the film for you. Spoiler alert, Borg does win if you aren't familiar with this story, but it's not his winning that makes this film so fantastic. That is a huge accomplishment and achievement to win 5 consecutive Wimbledons. But the important thing about this story, I personally feel, is how he won. Because this film centers on the lives of Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe, we get a really good sense of who these individuals are and how they are always themselves. For better or for worse, both of these guys are always themselves. However, once they both reach the finale and they're going head to head, we see that John McEnroe is holding back who he is, and he is focusing more on trying to be a more polite and more respectable tennis player, which is actually causing him not to focus on the game, but it's having him focus on his behavior, which impacts his game. And Bjorn Borg is himself the entire time. And one could argue that because John McEnroe was holding back and he wasn't really embracing who he is, that alone was the real reason he lost the championship. And I believe that was the biggest takeaway from this film. And because of that, Borg vs. McEnroe is getting both high fives from this guy. Borg vs. McEnroe is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. All right, we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed those reviews of Borg vs. McEnroe, as well as Super Troopers 2. Again, both very good movies, both very different movies, but equally enjoyable for completely different reasons. Also, if you haven't yet, on the channel just yesterday, I did a special Twitter talk. So I pulled up some conversation about Avengers Infinity War since this movie is coming out this week, as you're about to hear. And just kind of fired off some thoughts about what people were saying online. So if you go to the special segments playlist, you'll find that video right there. It's short, it's less than 7 minutes. Go ahead and check it out and see what kind of conversations are happening online as far as Avengers Infinity War is concerned. All right, so let's go ahead now and move into the last segment of the show, where we're going to take a look at what's arriving in theaters this week, what's arriving on DVD and VOD, or DVD and Blu-ray for your home theaters this week, and finally, my personal favorite, Certified Rad. So let's go ahead and take a look at this week here. We'll pull this splash page up super quick. And boom, this week, it's really simple. It's Avengers Infinity War. So no big surprise to anybody who watches the show or is a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 10 years of storytelling all coming together on the big screen. We have something to look forward to. I know I'm very excited again with Movie Pass, 1 movie a day, every day, basically. So hopefully I'll be able to get out to see it a couple times this week because of Movie Pass. And I saw an article, they said they sold out 1,000 shows already. So job well done to everybody getting out there and supporting Avengers Infinity War and getting those pre-sale tickets. Hope this movie does not disappoint. I don't believe it will. It's got a high bar, right? The expectations are super high for this film, but I think we're going to be okay. And looking forward to talking more about Avengers Infinity War with you guys next week after we have a chance to see it in theaters. All right, next up on DVD and Blu-ray this week, we've got Maze Runner, The Death Cure, Den of Thieves, Paddington 2, Hostiles, Forever My Girl. I was almost batting 1,000 with reviews this week, and then Forever My Girl dropped. And I went, bummer, because out of the 5, 4 of these 5 I have seen and reviewed. So if you go to the movie review playlist, you can check out my reviews for Maze Runner, Den of Thieves, Paddington 2, and Hostiles. If you're a fan of Westerns, I am definitely recommending you check out Hostiles, because this movie was fantastic. One of the best Westerns I've seen in a long time. One of the best Westerns I've seen, period. Really, really good movie. Again, if you like Westerns, this film is exactly as the title suggests, and it is adult, and it is graphic, and it is a Western, and it is awesome. So check it out. Go back, watch my review for more information. Again, out of those 5 films, Maze Runner, Den of Thieves, Paddington 2, and Hostiles, the reviews are up on the channel, so those are waiting for you. And then Forever My Girl, I haven't seen. If you have, go ahead and throw your thoughts in the comment section below and let us know what you thought about Forever My Girl and if people should actually see this film. All right, let's go ahead and move now into the last bit of news here. And this is going to be Certified Rad, right? So you guys never know what's going to drop, but I can guarantee whatever drops is Certified Rad. And this week we are going to take a look at a story about newlyweds who take one photo everywhere they go, and they've actually become famous for it. So this is going to look weird, but give me a second. So we have a very famous photo, which I'm sure you've seen. So I'll just throw it up here real quick. And it is right there. There it is. That's the photo. And that is the kissing photo, right? From World War II, the sailor comes back after, you know, the war is over, and they take that classic photo. Everybody knows that photo. There's a couple now who met overseas, and they decided to start up a relationship. And eventually this relationship blossomed and they got married. But while they were dating, since they lived in different countries, one lived in the Philippines, she lived in the Philippines, he lived in America. So in order to keep the relationship alive, they decided that for their dating process, they were just going to travel the world together. So they would fly to different locations, her from the Philippines, him from America. They would meet up at different places around the world, and they would replicate that kissing photo. And then like they would have their own little like website they threw together for that. So if you check out this article, it's super cute. It's super awesome. Like if you think about like, if you're someone like me who likes to travel, like the idea of like having someone that like you can travel with and everything, like being super fun and like having fun, you know, no stress, just fun. Like that's awesome. And so this couple, like they figured out how to do it, even though like, you know, the Philippines and America, they figured out how to do it. They figured out how to have fun doing it. And then that eventually led them to getting married, which, you know, when you put in that much effort to anything, even a relationship, a job, whatever, but you put in that much energy into something, that shows you really care about it. When you really care about it and you really make an effort to make something grow, and then it does grow and it does blossom into this awesome relationship that these two people have, you can guarantee that that is certified rad. So check this out. The link is down below. They got a bunch of photos of them replicating this pose like all over the world. Like again, because that's what they do. That's their thing. They travel. So check it out. Super cute. I think you guys will like it. And that pretty much wraps up this week's episode. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on another episode of Brunansky's Vlog, Season 3, Episode 4, happening right now. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching to the end. If you guys have any comments or thoughts, again, please do go ahead and throw those comments in the comment section below. Get that conversation started, and let's talk some more movies throughout the rest of the week. Stay tuned, because the individual reviews for Borg vs. McEnroe and Super Troopers will be dropping later if you want to share those with your friends or family who are considering seeing those movies. Once those drop, you can just send them that link, and then they can go right to it, and they can check it out without having to watch through the full episode. So super easy, super handy. It's there for you. Finally, don't forget again to click subscribe if you haven't, and then hit the bell so you get the notifications as soon as new content drops on this channel. And finally, if you enjoyed any portion of this, please do give me the thumbs up, because the thumbs up helps people who like movie-related shows find this movie-related show right here on YouTube. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. This is Brunansky's Vlog. We will see you next Monday at 10 a.m. PST right here on YouTube with a brand new episode. Hope you guys have set aside time to go see Avengers Infinity War, because 10 years, people, 10 years of storytelling. This is so huge. I don't think people realize how big this really is. Such an achievement for Marvel Studios. Cannot wait to see what happens in this film. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. We're going to be talking about it next week. Don't you worry. And we will see you next Monday, 10 a.m. PST, right here on YouTube. Have a great week, everybody. I'm Jeremy Brunansky. I'm getting out of here. Take care. See you next Monday. Bye-bye.